Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. Amma ba'd. What's up, people? Hope you're all good. Just thought I'd go live briefly. What should we check out first? Twitter, and then may go through something useful. And if you've got something you'd like me to react to, as usual, just let me know. All right. So should be streaming this particular page, which I am, and I hope you can all hear it. So what's this? The West should support a caliphate.
Not going to be angry. They're going to be able to be generous and live and let live.
Might even leave Europe.
They might. Well, so my solution is the opposite of what's usually said. Is that the caliphate, which is I understand to be normative Sunni Islam. In fact, it's all schools of thought. I've not found a single school of thought that doesn't actually.
With the Shia and the Imamates as well.
Even the Shia might have their own understanding, but they still have a rulership, even though it's slightly different in the detail. There's still the idea of rulership there. If you have a confident Muslim world living according to the Sunnah of the Prophet, upon him be peace, then you are going to have a happier world where Muslims are not, traumatized and.
So they got this common thing where they say, "Upon whom be peace." Right? Instead of "peace be upon him," they say, "Upon whom be peace." Like it's a bit more stylish to say that. But is that sufficient? Should they not be saying "Sallallahu alaihi wasallam"? So the topic I'm talking about here is whenever you mention the name of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you should say sallallahu alaihi wasallam or something to that effect. But they're saying it in English, upon whom be peace. Is that enough? If you know how to say it in Arabic, should you not say it in Arabic? I don't know. It's a question. Let me know your thoughts on that or what the correct answer is. Yes, Tanweer, wa alaikum salam, brother. Okay, Jada Franson is in the feed. She says, the good old days when you could tell a joke without going to jail for it. All right. I'm afraid if I play it, I'll get a copyright strike again. So I'll avoid that. The Jewish children ritual was performed in Brooklyn last night. It involves a live chicken being swung around a Jew's head while reciting prayer. The belief is that all sins are transferred to the chicken. The chicken is then... Okay, let's see. Okay, well, she didn't smash it into the wall or anything, so... It's a great white shark. Walaikum salam, whoever you are. Breaking, Sneeko reportedly signed a one-year deal worth over $30 million with Kick. All right, let's see.
Well, I am, you can go to kick.com/Sneeko. I'm going to join Kick.
Before we start the birthday special, somebody's room needs to make an announcement, and I'm going to let them make their announcement now. Go.
Now, did he have to sell his soul to get that contract? What compromises did he have to make? Nigel Farage. Where have you been, actually? Nowhere, bro. Nowhere. Alhamdulillah. Nigel Farage wants you to think that Britain has an immigration problem. It doesn't, says Fiona. Britain had a problem with millionaires hoarding wealth, egged on by politicians and the press. Britain has a problem with racism. Britain has a Nigel Farage problem. Okay. What's this woman talking about? Okay. Today was tough, says Busha Sheikh. Behind the sunglasses are eyes filled with tears full of sadness. I sat with Muslim women. She says a Muslim women then, okay. Community group discussing Palestine, how anti-Muslim propaganda is affecting us psychologically, and those disgusting politicians supporting such disregard for human blah blah blah. Nazi Germany, fact or fiction? Let's go through some of the most often repeated lies and misunderstandings. Okay, I'm not going to go there. Everything you're being told is a lie. Great. That was really good, wasn't it? Putin's special bodyguards are basically John Wick. All right, here they are with the chickens again.
In the largest wet market in the country. With little to no PPE, they will swing the chickens around their heads as part of an annual atonement ritual called Kaporos. The chickens will be killed in about 30 pop-up slaughterhouses erected without permits on public streets in violation of 8 New York City health codes. The body parts, blood, and feces of thousands of animals will contaminate the streets for days. Because they're held in crates for up to several days with no food, water, protection from weather extremes, or veterinary care, many of the animals develop compromised immune systems and show signs of respiratory disease. The chickens make each other sick, and they also infect people who handle them with E. coli and Campylobacter. If the viruses that they harbor commingle and mutate into a more dangerous strain, then these wet markets could be the source of another zoonotic disease outbreak. According to a toxicologist who studied fecal and blood samples taken during Kaporos, the ritual poses a significant public health hazard. Hasn't COVID-19 been disruptive and
How you doing,
deadly enough?
Skyworks? So it's called Kaporos. Ben Affleck calls out the depraved racist Islamophobia of genocidal Zionists like Bill Maher, and this is old, isn't it? This can't be new. This is old. Hidden in plain sight. Dr. Dre and okay. The top picture has been altered digitally to look like a man. Clear traces left from the original. Not okay. What's this one talking about?
And lecturing is all about bigotry all the time. Sanctimonious little prick that guy is. That guy is accused of hitting a woman in the face and causing another woman to have a miscarriage.
Right. You know, she's married this guy. In recent weeks, it's come out that he is very credibly accused by a woman who's told her story to multiple publications of publicly slapping her at the Cannes Film Festival, where this lady had been invited. In the face, so hard that she spun around from it. But the more shocking part of the story that this woman recounts that Emhoff casually told her in the days or weeks before this incident, he had been accused by his elementary school teacher's babysitter.
School-age children?
Children's teacher, sorry.
Yeah.
Getting her pregnant and then causing the miscarriage, causing the termination of the pregnancy, not explicitly through abortion, but maybe through a miscarriage. You know, that's the
violence,
accusation.
since he's
Violence
hit a
is the
woman in the
implication.
face. Yeah.
Exactly. And so
Now,
American...
he told her this?
He told her this.
All right. This is why you'd never hear me say free Palestine or any Arab nation in Libya. Okay, I'm not gonna watch that. Daniel Hakikachu, Madkhalis, sectarians. Okay. What are your thoughts on what's it called? Hakikachu versus Jake the Snake? In a stunning display of skill, the Bangladeshi wrestler knocked out his opponent in just 60 seconds. Okay. Turn that sound off. Oh, he's got the Palestinian flag. And a Bangladeshi flag. Major Klug. Okay, I'll give you a second. Yeah, hello. Yeah, get rid of him before he could cause damage. All right. Yeah, so Bangladeshi wrestler waving a Palestinian flag. Get rid of that now. Cocaine is a hell of a drug. Do you think Elon Musk is being controlled? Yeah, I'll get rid of that one as well. Okay, I'm not sure what the point of that video was. Yeah, Skyworks, all good. Jump on if you are free. Give me your thoughts about what's going on. Anything you'd like me to watch? Tell me, guys. The Ministry of Promotion of Virtues and Prevention of Vices has prevented forced marriages of 5,000 women who were being married against their consent, and returned to 20,000 women their rights of inheritance. This was unprecedented in the Afghan society in the past. Okay. And that actually has mounted up to regulate the situation. Yep. Okay. Okay, what's Stu Peters saying?
Anyone who wants to learn about the real causes of World War II, the real conditions that led to Adolf Hitler taking power in Germany, is slammed as a revisionist. Oh, you're noticing something? You have questions? Oh, well, you're a Nazi sympathizer. Or any number of insults that have been fine-tuned over the years. Fine-tuned to serve as dog whistles with maximum impact, to send all of the useful idiots running toward the truth seeker to shut him down as quickly as they can, to make sure that he doesn't influence anyone else with all of his question asking, with any of his noticing. And this gatekeeping of history isn't limited to the classroom or the education system as a whole. No, it is society-wide. People of all ages are intimidated out of doing their own research. When it comes to vaccines, when it comes to anything, especially when it comes to the hellish conditions faced by the people of Weimar Germany, perhaps the most disgusting country in world history, where many of the social experiments that we now and our kids are being subjected to made their debut. The Weimar period in Germany, which lasted from the end of World War I in 1918 to the day that Hitler took power in 1933, was a time of complete and total degeneracy. Humiliated by their defeat in World War I, the German people were just plunged into poverty. Their money was worthless. The social fabric of their entire country had been completely torn apart. Marxists were deliberately creating the conditions necessary for a perfect and total societal collapse to usher in their Bolshevik agenda. Sexual perversion was rampant. There were child prostitutes on the streets of Berlin. There were mother-daughter prostitution teams who desperately engaged in unspeakable acts in exchange for their next meal.
Mother-daughter, where have we heard that before?
place of the transgenderism and gay rights movements that have once again reared their ugly heads to plague Western Christian society, especially America. All of this was happening with the full blessing of the Weimar government, which was largely controlled by Jews. The Jews controlled the German court system. Jews controlled the German banking system. The Jewish people had unprecedented overrepresentation in Germany's government, and they ruled the numerous and hyper-violent communist factions that were trying to take over the country, both by force and at the ballot box.
All right, Stu, we get your point. Last night, yeah, we saw that already. Okay, so we'll check out the hijab and Piers Morgan debates. Getting the heat out here. Why did that video disappear? Bit weird. Okay, what's this?
Of our enemies that comes with a spiritual power. They are a child of Avraham. They have a koach of prayer. They have a merit of Brit Milah, again, which goes back to Avraham. There is a tznius. And the reason why the Golus is so difficult is that we have to counter it with a spiritual power that is greater than their spiritual power. There is no logical way of stopping people who are willing to die for their cause. And you have people who don't care if they die. Then how are you going to stop them? That Golus Yishmael is impossible to defeat. So the dilemma is we need spiritual ways of defeating them. Yishmael is the most difficult because they are the only one of our enemies that comes with a spiritual power. They are a child of Avraham. They have a koach of prayer. They have a merit of Brit Milah. Again.
Brit Milah. I wonder if the word Britain comes from Hebrew or Jewishness. Okay, they were filming on the beach when suddenly this happened. Yeah, what happened?
Oh. Oh. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, no. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus. Fucking God. God. God.
لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله.
Jesus. Oh my God.
Interesting. All right. They're using Ezekiel 23:20 to subdue the masses. Sneeko, the Muslim, yeah, the Muslim.
Let's test to see if it's dry. Yes,
Okay.
A little rubbery.
No.
In her defense, it was already cooked. Divorce, divorce, divorce. L Western woman. Relax, bro. Excuses. Get the rocks. I'm not gonna throw rocks at you. Shut.
Stone me to death?
No.
You don't want anything to drink?
Red Bull. I have a Coke.
L soda. W water.
Why are you speaking in chat now? Bryce, I'm not gonna lie to you, bro.
What?
The chicken was dry.
Yo, it's kind of red too. What's the medium rare shit?
It's still like
Strike. 2 more strikes.
fault. The truck driver. What the hell? Why are you making her laugh? Funnier than me? Just give her one little uppercut. No.
All right, that was pointless. We're gonna have to check out Piers Morgan and hijab. So let me search for that. Piers. It's currently at 1.5 million views. All right, so if we go copy link. There we go. Ads again. All right.
Decapitated. The question is whether that makes the Middle East and the world a safer or a more dangerous place. Can it really be said that Israel is winning this war? How big will this war get? And how much collateral damage?
He really takes himself seriously, Piers, right? He thinks he's a proper, TV news anchor. How serious can this get?
The conflicts in the Middle East. Joining me are two of our most passionate advocates for their cause. The Muslim philosopher, scholar, and YouTuber, Mohammed.
Muslim philosopher, scholar, and YouTuber. Do you agree that he's a philosopher or even a scholar? What has he written to make himself a scholar, by the way? Right? To be a scholar, you need to be a prolific writer. Journal after journal. What is Hijab written?
Hijab, and the lawyer and author Alan Dershowitz. Well, welcome to both of you. Mohammed, you've been on twice before, Alan many times. What I'd like this to be is a civilized debate between two people with very strong opinions about this, obviously very different opinions, where we try and reach potentially some points of agreement. Because so often with these debates, that seems almost impossible. Descends into a shouting match, everyone gets ad hominem, everyone digs ever deeper into their trench, their tribe, and we don't get anything constructive out of it. I think you guys are smart enough to potentially, through spirited and passionate debate, agree about some stuff. And that is surely the first basis for how any of this eventually gets resolved. So let's hope for the best. Prepare for the worst and hope for the best, as they say. Alan Dershowitz, let me start with you. Israel, it seems to me, in the last 3 weeks have massively ramped up their military offensive in a way that says to me that Prime Minister Netanyahu and his cabinet sense an opportunity to completely, in their eyes, sort out the Middle East problem once and for all, with Iran at the center of that problem. Is that how you see this?
Yes, I do. I see Iran as the head of the octopus, sending out its tentacles through the Houthis, through...
He describes Iran as a octopus. The octopus is a sort of disparaging remark against Alan Dershowitz's people, right? Did you know that? It's funny how he's using that against another group.
Through Hamas, through Hezbollah. The tragedy, as we celebrate's a bad word, commemorate October 7th, is that if Sinwar and Hamas had the opportunity to do it again, knowing everything that followed, knowing all the deaths and disasters in Gaza and in Lebanon, I think Hamas would do it again, would do October 7th again, because they think they've won. They've turned college and university students against Israel. They have solidified the United Nations opposition to Israel. They've divided Americans, particularly the Republican administrations in the past, be allowed 7th, any more than ISIS is, yes, a military defeat for Iran and its surrogates, and a peace process between Israel and Saudi Arabia, with steps taken toward the recognition of a two-state solution, which is the only reasonable solution that will solve the problem. But remember that October 7th was stimulated by the desire to prevent Israel and Saudi Arabia from creating a peace process following up from the Abraham Accords. And unless that peace process continues, and unless Hamas is told, no, you failed, the world will not.
So there you go, right? This is what we've been saying from the beginning. Why do you think Saudi Arabia has not said a word of condemnation against Israel? It's because they're looking to have this peace deal, or this treat, not peace deal, normalized trade with Israel, right? They got business objectives, economic objectives. That's what's going on.
Not reward you for this we're just going to see a continuation of the bloodshed in the Middle East, which does not serve the interests of the Palestinians nor the Israeli people.
Okay, Mohammed Hijab, your response to that?
Well, first of all, I would like to say that wherever we see suffering, wherever we see death and destruction, especially of young people, assault, sexual assault, we see Dershowitz to the rescue, the former defense attorney of Jeffrey Epstein, a man.
When I saw this, right, I was watching this live. I'm sure many of you were. As soon as he said that, I couldn't stop laughing. I was cracking up. Because he immediately targeted the man and not the ball, as they say.
Man himself accused.
I knew we would get to that. I knew. I
didn't give you permission to interrupt me. I didn't give you permission to interrupt me. I stayed quiet when you were talking.
Okay, here's what I would say.
I stayed quiet.
This was pure entertainment.
Okay, hang on. Here's what I would say.
To the merits.
I didn't give you permission.
Listen, Mohammed, attacking a lawyer for defending people is a stupid argument.
Well,
right?
I'm not making an argument yet.
Well, you're just using an
I'm not making an
hominem
argument.
attack straight off the top.
Has he got leverage on you? Is that
No,
why
he's a brilliant
You saw your
lawyer.
picture with Maxwell. He's got leverage on you.
He's a brilliant lawyer.
Are you saying that because he's got leverage
I
on you?
met Ghislaine Maxwell for 5 minutes at a book launch.
You look very happy with her.
Well, I didn't know anything about her at the
You look
time,
very
other
happy
than she
with
was
her.
the daughter of the man that
We're talking about the biggest sexual scandal in the last 100
who I
years.
never met Jeffrey Epstein or ever knew him. Alan Dershowitz was wrongly accused.
So interestingly, Ghislaine Maxwell was the partner of Epstein, or Epstein as they pronounce his name, and on top of that, she was the daughter of Robert Maxwell, the owner of the Mirror and whatever other newspaper establishment. Both Epstein and Maxwell were working for the Mossad, for Israel. When Robert Maxwell died, he had the highest level of state funeral that Israel gives to anybody. So, yeah, and Dershowitz is linked to that country. That's who he's defending.
Of various things in relation to Jeffrey
How do
Epstein.
you know it's wrongly?
Because they've all been.
Why are you defending him?
They all turned out to be nonsense. He won a court case
Why
about
are you not
it.
looking at me when I'm speaking to you?
Well, I can.
This was a bit silly, right? Why are you not looking at me? No, they're all looking at the screen. Right? You don't need them to look at you.
Turn to you, but there are three of us involved in this.
Yeah, you're speaking to me, so
Okay, let me make things clear. I never met Jeffrey Epstein. I met Ghislaine Maxwell for 5 minutes.
Yeah, you look very happy in that picture.
Okay, if you want to use that as an ad hominem
No,
attack
but why
on
are you-
me,
why are you-
a
why-
picture
why are you
taken,
defending him?
Hang on, a
Why are you
picture
defending
taken
him?
in 2013.
He spoke for 3 minutes. I spoke for 20 seconds.
I'm defending him because your first attack on him is to attack him as a lawyer because he defends bad people. That's
fine.
Here's a little secret for you, Mohammed.
I also
All
defend-
lawyers do that.
I've also
No, but hold on.
defended-
We're not talking about bad
I've
people. We're
also
talking about.
defended
Excuse
Bill
me.
Clinton.
You've had
I've
enough.
also defended
you've had
many
enough
good
speaking.
people.
I'm talking about a person who, after the fact, said that he was proud to defend him after the allegations come out. You still wanted to? Do you condemn Dershowitz
for what?
For defending
No,
Epstein
I have defended,
and being proud of defending Epstein.
Some
You
of the
defend him.
best,
It's not for me to
I have
defend him for
defended
that.
some
All
of
I
the
can
best
tell you
people
is
in the world.
Okay,
I
Alan, you
I
defend
helped
yourself.
No, why should he
Nelson
defend himself? I
Mandela.
haven't even spoken for 20 seconds.
Alan can defend himself.
But let me speak for more
I
than
helped
20
to
seconds. I
defend
haven't even made
Nelson
my point yet.
Mandela. I helped to defend
So 2
Bill
on 1 now, is
Clinton.
it?
I've helped to defend some of the finest people in the
Yeah,
world,
well-
and I've also
Bill Clinton was also linked to Epstein. So, but for some reason, he thinks Bill Clinton's one of the finest people in the world. Yeah, okay.
helped
John
to defend
Lennon,
some of
he
the worst.
defended. Is
I
that
never
John Lennon, okay.
justified.
He was not proud
never
of defending John
justified
Lennon the same way as he
anything any of
announced
my
that he was
clients
proud of
have done.
defending
I
Epstein.
am proud of my role as a
This has got
defense
to do with
lawyer,
the fact that this
just
man,
like-
the credibility
just like
of this man is
John
on the line.
Adams was
He defends
proud to
Israel on the one
defend
hand,
the
and on the
people-
other hand, he defends Epstein. I think the public should know this.
Do you want me to
And that
play?
he's
Do you
proud.
want me to play the clips?
He's proud
Do you
of
want me,
it.
Mohammed, do you want me to play the clips of you
And I don't
that
know-
do the rounds
I
on
don't-
social
I-
media
yeah, I know.
saying some very inflammatory
No problem.
things?
I
do you want me to?
Why are you not looking at me?
Because I'm looking
Why
at
are
the
you not
three of
looking
us.
at me?
Yeah, this. Why are you not looking at me? Why are you not looking at me? Pointless. Complete nonsense. Yeah.
I'm right
I can
here.
turn to you, and the viewers see me and you
Look
looking
at me man to man.
Fine.
Look
I'll
at me
turn
man
to
to
you.
man. Look at my eyes.
Yes.
Will ihr sie so lieben?
Yeah, it's a silly comment about why you're not looking at me man to man. What's the point of that? It's got nothing to do with the topic. You know, adds nothing. But the initial, comments from Hijab were hilarious. I really like that. Wherever you find SA or abuse, you find this man in the defense.
This man's credibility is something which is shocking. That is, we're even entertaining.
What do you base that on?
On the fact that he actually defended Epstein, and after the fact, he said he was proud of it. His vicinity. He was in Epstein's vicinity. He had a massage in his vicinity. This is the kind of person that.
I think vicinity is the wrong word here. He probably means facility. Vicinity. Wrong word. But yeah, if the guy had a massage in Epstein's premises, that's damning.
We're having on the show defending Israel. That's the first thing I want to say. The second thing is, in the first interaction where me and you were talking about October the 7th, we spent about 3 or 4 minutes actually talking about sexual assault allegations, if you remember that. And actually here, what we have is Israeli soldiers like Mir from Unit 100, and that's on The Guardian, it's on Sky News, it's on all these kinds of platforms, coming out, and there's videographic evidence of him raping another man. I haven't heard condemnation from you, and I don't expect to hear it from him who defended Epstein. But this shows you the bias. The bias in
this was a very good attack from Hijab. He pointed out what happened in Israel, that they've got these soldiers who were abusing their captives, like in terrible ways. Not only that, but when they were removed from their posts or got in trouble for abusing their captives, the Israeli population came out protesting for their freedom. It's crazy.
In the coverage for a year, where we know the ICJ.
And we never hear condemnation from people like Piers about that type of despicable behavior.
They have said that there's a plausible genocide.
You haven't been watching my show.
Yeah, he's also never condemned them for genocide.
I think I have.
No, you haven't.
Have you spoken about me?
You're talking complete bullshit.
Okay, tell me why.
Right?
Tell me why.
Because I did condemn what you've just talked about in a previous debate.
Good.
Right?
Dershowitz, do you condemn it?
Yes, of course. I condemn.
So Hijab is not there for a conversation or a debate. Did you notice he just immediately cut Piers off and switched over to Dershowitz? What he seems to be doing here is a tactic of giving Piers a taste of his own medicine. As you know, whenever Piers has guests on, he asks them questions, and as they begin to answer their question, he interrupts them with another question or changes the topic. So Hijab has just done to Piers exactly what Piers does to others. Not only that, he's acting like it's his show now, right? Because you're not the one that's supposed to be saying, okay, Dershowitz, what do you think? That's Piers' job to do. So Hijab is come on the show and he's taken over. He said, this is my show and I'm going to treat you the way you treat people.
Any rape of anybody.
You might feel it's embarrassing. Well, Piers' behavior is embarrassing because Hijab is just mirroring Piers' behavior.
In any assault on anybody who's in captivity.
And you also condemn the right of rape, the right of rape protest that took place in Israel. And you acknowledge that there's a problem in Israel with this.
Place, they will be investigated. They will be fully investigated. They will be court-martialed.
So yeah, this idea that Israel investigates themselves. Like every time some awful abuse has taken place from the Israelis against Palestinians, right? Some awful crime has taken place by them. The US, the Washington spokesperson always comes out and says, well, Israel is going to investigate. We'll wait for the results of their investigation. Well, we're still waiting for the results of a single one of those investigations. What happened to the investigation over the death of Hind Rajab? Yeah, where's the results of that investigation? Ahmed Hijab is a buffoon. I mean, that's not very useful. It's just an insult to Skyworks because he's not a buffoon. He's a human being.
There's a problem
and
in
if
Israeli
anybody
society.
is convicted of that, They deserve their
Do you
punishment. I
acknowledge
don't
that there's a
defend
problem?
What about the
rape.
problem with Hamas?
Whoa. Here's like hear his voice there. He put all of his heart into that comment there. Listen to him.
Fully investigated. They will be
Do you acknowledge that
court-martialed.
there's a problem
And
in
if
Israeli
anybody
society?
is convicted of that, they deserve their
Do you
punishment. I
acknowledge
don't
that there's a
defend
problem in
What about the
rape.
problem with Hamas
Sure.
raping women?
I have no.
Yes. Look. He put all of his emotion into that.
Compunction.
October the 7th.
I have no compunction condemning Hamas for any.
What does compunction mean? I have to look that word up. Compunction. Bear with me. Google. Compunction. A feeling of guilt or moral scruple that prevents or follows the doing of something bad. Compunction.
Anything that they've done. You've said that. You've asked me before, and I've told you before. I have no moral scruple. Neither do the majority of the Muslim world. I tell you now, anything that Hamas has done, we have condemned in the first instance. But we're not seeing the same level of coverage with Hamas as we are seeing with these people that are shoving rods off people's ass and raping people on videographic evidence. And you have 3,000 people. You talk about the hostages. You've got 3,000 people in essentially captivity, according to Human Rights Watch and B'Tselem, who are prisoners of war of Israel. And we're spending a fraction of the time speaking about them as compared to speaking about the hostages. This shows you the inherent
Well,
bias.
there's no comparison. There's no comparison between innocent hostages who
What?
did nothing wrong and people who are being charged with criminal offenses.
They're
If
not charged with
innocent,
criminal
they'll be
offenses.
found
That's why you're meant to
innocent.
know better.
Well, Skyworks, it depends what type of massage you're talking about, right? Was it a physiotherapy type of massage, or was it what they call a massage with a happy conclusion?
You're
And
meant to know
but
better
they
than
are
that.
charged
They're
with
not charged
security
with criminal
offenses.
offenses.
But you
They're
can't,
not charged with
you
criminal
can't
offenses.
compare.
They are
you can't
arrested
compare
without
a three-year-
charge.
You can't
They are
compare a
arrested without
3-year-old
charge. They're not
baby.
charged with criminal
Don't
offenses.
shout
You
over
can't
each other. We can't hear the
you
answer.
Well, he's
can't
lying to the
compare a
public.
3-year-old
Allow him to
baby
respond.
Go ahead.
to somebody who's a member of Hamas.
Say that
Sorry,
again.
Adam, we couldn't hear because he was shouting.
I was shouting. Say it
Alan,
again.
He said, I was shouting. Say it again. He's just there to have fun, really.
he says the
I'm
3,000.
saying you can't compare
Alan,
a
he says the
3-year-old
3,000.
baby.
Alan, just to be clear, he said the 3,000 people he's talking about were all arrested without charge, and therefore they've not been charged with crimes. Your response to that?
Well, if they were, they should be released. Nobody should be arrested
Good
without
boy.
charge. If you're
Good
held for a
boy.
security
Don't be so
reason,
pathetic.
I will
during
say
the
what I
war,
want. It's
great-
uncensored.
great-
Good boy.
let me
What
finish,
is
please.
pathetic?
Let me
It's
make my
childish.
point.
Try and have a
Can I
proper
make my
debate.
point,
I'll say
please?
what I like.
Can I make my point? Let me make my point. Great Britain.
He's ruined what Piers thought was going to be an intellectually respected show. Hijab is just acting like a naughty child in a classroom.
Britain confined tens of thousands of people without charges during the Second World War.
Two wrongs
The
don't
United
make a
States
right.
did the same.
Two wrongs don't
I
make a right.
was
Should we talk about what
strongly
Hitler done?
opposed.
Let's talk about what
Please
Hitler
let
done.
me make my point. I'm opposed to that. I wrote an article against.
I am astounded that what's his name, Dershowitz, did not get up and walk out of this conversation. He actually sat there the whole time and treated it seriously. It's incredible.
Kidnapped to people
listening to his
being
voice.
raped and murdered. You can't compare what happened on October 7th to what Israel has done.
Yes, you
in
can't,
terms
because
of
on the one
security
hand,
prisoners.
you've got
There's
30,000
no
people, and the other hand,
comparison
you've got
at all.
about 100.
And stop
That's
interrupting
30
me,
times
please.
more. That's 30 times more. If you want us to take you seriously, if you want us to take this coverage seriously, if you want us to take Western media seriously, then let's, for God's sake, talk about proportionality as your favorite word. We're talking about 30,000 people detained in prisons on the one hand, and 100 people who are hostages. And yet we have managed somehow to spend way more time
Hang on,
proportionally.
you said 3,000 a minute ago. Which one is it? 3,000?
Sorry, 3,000.
But
Stand
not
corrected.
30,000.
Not 30.
Okay, well,
3,000.
Get your numbers right if you're going to make that claim.
Okay, I misspoke.
Exaggerated
Not a problem.
10 times.
Not a problem. He spoke about Iran. Let me ask you a question.
I'll
about
tell you what, let me ask the question.
Sure, go
and
ahead.
you guys try and
Go
debate
ahead.
it.
Go
At
ahead.
the moment, Alan Dershowitz is being very civilized in the way he's debating.
I'm sure you're going to say that.
You're just making
He might have
ad
leverage
hominem
on you.
attacks and shouting all
He's
the
your
time.
friend.
No one can understand it when you
Have you
shout
met him
all the time.
before?
I know Alan well.
Oh, you know him well.
I respect him very much.
Oh, yes, you do.
He's one of America's top lawyers.
He's top lawyers.
Yeah, he is.
And you're an unbiased person here on
An
Central.
unbiased person about Alan Dershowitz. Why?
Does he have leverage on you, Piers Morgan?
There's no leverage on me, no.
You've got a picture with Maxwell.
Yes, with Ghislaine
Did you go to the island?
No, I've never been to the island. I've never met Jeffrey Epstein.
Be honest.
I never spent
I
more than
was
5 minutes with
Be
him.
honest.
I've answered you. So what part of that wants to...
Do you condemn him being on the island? He's your good friend.
You can ask
No, I'm
Alan
asking, do you
Dershowitz
condemn him?
about Jeffrey Epstein.
You had a massage.
He represented him.
He said he didn't take his shorts off.
Do you know what?
That's what
None
he
of
said.
this
That's what
has
he
got
said.
anything to do with Israel.
He said he didn't take his shorts off when he was getting a
Can you
massage.
stop- please, Mohammed.
Why is this uncomfortable?
It's nothing to do with the
He
debate.
didn't take his shorts off, but he's got his pants down now, hasn't he?
Can you stop it?
Why?
What's the point?
Why? He
Because it's
defended one of the
actually-
most obnoxious people in the last 100 years. Why should I
Because
stop it?
actually what is going on right
should I
now
stop it?
in the Middle East is incredibly important.
Yes,
You're
and you have this
trivialising-
man who's...
You are trivializing that. Well, if you didn't want to do a debate, don't agree to do it.
Who said I'm not going to do a debate? I'm saying this person who's
Come on and
defending
make
Israel...
stupid ad hominem attacks is pathetic.
Oh, okay. All right. He's your good friend. You want to defend him so much.
How did Piers not end the show? Like they both sat there patiently waiting through the whole mess of a debate. I found that incredible. I thought at this point you could see he snapped, but he didn't end the show.
What are you talking about?
You're defending him.
Huh?
You're defending him. You're defending a monster,
I'm
a pervert, an old pervert.
He's not a pervert or a
But this is where hijab kind of screwed up, calling him a pervert.
monster.
Why is he not? He knew Epstein, and for us, there's good inference.
Why are you doing this, Mohammed?
Why not?
Because it's pointless. You may get a few
Okay,
clicks
ask
on.
your questions.
You
Well,
might get a
ask
few
your questions.
clicks on it. So what?
It's not.
Ask your questions.
Let me be very clear. It's not pointless. He just called me a pervert. He will be sued now
Yeah, that's
for defamation,
it's
and we will be
defamation,
able
it's
to
it's
resolve
honest
this
opinion. In
in
the UK,
a
we have
court of
different
law. I
defamation
guarantee
laws.
you that he will be sued.
In
for
my
calling me
understanding, you
pervert.
are a pervert
The woman
because
who
you are
falsely
acquainted with
accused
Jeffrey
me
Epstein.
has now withdrawn her
Sure, I've got my own defamation
accusation
cases. I know the
and
law very well here.
acknowledged that
You
she
can't
may
threaten
have
me. You
confused
can't
me
threaten
with
I know the
somebody
law very
else,
well.
and
I
calling me
consider
a
you to be a
pervert
pervert
will
because of your
result
connection with
in
Jeffrey
a
Epstein.
defamation lawsuit
Sure,
in
I'm
an
ready for
American
it.
court
I'm
and in a
ready.
British
I'm ready
court.
for the law.
Yeah, I don't think you are ready for it, right? This guy is an experienced lawyer, right? This Dershowitz. If he's gonna bring you a defamation lawsuit in the United States, bro, that's millions of dollars we're talking about, not like the UK with their small amounts. I think you've screwed up by taking it there. You know, stick to the facts. As for calling him a pervert, you didn't need to do that.
I assure you of that.
I believe
Let's
you
move
are
on
an
to
old
Israel
pervert.
now.
Why don't we move
We'll
on to the
resolve
debate?
this in
You're an old
court.
pervert.
Let's move on
You're
to
an old pervert.
Israel.
It's really is there any point considering this?
Exactly. At this point, I thought it's going to end, but it went on.
Do you want to throw the towel?
No. What's the point?
Do you want to throw-
I'm
do you
not
want
doing
to
the
throw the
debate
towel?
you were
The
booked to
debate is-
do.
Do you want to
Israel.
both throw the towel?
You were not booked to
Do you want
talk
to give
about
up?
this.
Do you want to give up?
Just debate the issues.
Let's talk about the issues. Let's
Well,
talk about
come on,
Iran.
then.
Let's talk about Iran.
Let's talk about Iran.
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
Do you support Iran?
Okay. Well, let me answer your question. Iran was attacked on April the 1st, right? It was attacked. The embassy of Iran was attacked in Syria by Israel. After that, on the first occasion, they then sent missiles and drones, correct? Now, my question to you is, does Iran have a right to defend itself? And if so, what is a proportionate response? Because you see, I've been having a moral quandary about the issue. Piers Morgan, what's a proportionate response for Iran?
I'll tell you what I think about Iran. I think
I've been having a moral quandary about what's considered a proportionate response. This is what Piers has been saying for the past 6 months.
Iran is an unbelievably nefarious place which has been fueling Hamas.
A nefarious place? Like, what do you mean? A nefarious place? Nefarious means wicked or criminal. The nefarious activities of the organized crime syndicates. Okay.
The Houthis, Hezbollah,
Does it have
for
a right to
many
defend
years
itself?
with a joint
Does it have a right to defend
a
itself?
joint ideology that they want to eradicate.
But yeah, Hijab smashed him with this argument here. Does it have a right to defend itself?
Israel
And if so,
any way
which,
they can. So I think Iran is one of the most despicable
Does it have a right to
regimes
defend itself?
in the world. I also think that right now the Iranian regime is in serious danger.
You look completely discombobulated.
What do you mean?
Not even answering, are you?
I'm telling you what I think of Iran.
I'm asking you, do they have a right to defend themselves? Do you think they have a right to defend themselves? Both of you can answer the question. Do they have a right to defend? They were attacked. The sovereign nation was attacked. My question is, does it have a right to defend?
Iran has been fueling
Isn't that the
attacks
question
on
you've been
Israel
asking?
now for what, 40
I've
years?
been having a moral quandary about
What?
this. I've been having a moral quandary about Iran.
Have you?
Yeah, moral quandary, yes. Moral quandary, I don't know. Do they have a right to defend themselves? And if so, what is the proportionate
So you're
response?
supporting Iran, to be clear.
I'm asking you, no,
Are
I'm
you
not
supporting
I'm
Iran?
not supporting, I'm antithetical to many of these organizations for my own purposes. But my question to you,
Do you support the Iranian regime?
not unconditionally, but I support their
What
right,
conditions do you agree with them about?
their right to defend themselves. Do you believe they have a right to defend themselves?
No, I think they're terrorists.
Oh, so they don't have a right to defend
So you said no, they don't have a right to defend themselves, right? His answer was no. All right.
themselves. Iran does not have a right to defend itself.
They do, but they're not.
But now he says they do. So he said they don't have a right to themselves. Now he says they do have a right to defend themselves within the space of 10 seconds.
The ones.
So what is proportionate response?
They're not the ones.
What's the proportionate response?
Okay.
No,
Can I answer it?
You asked this question to the
You're
people.
just going to keep talking. Can I answer it?
What's the proportionate response?
The proportionate response to Iran is to
Finally, he's coming to answer the question.
stop them trying to destroy Israel through their proxies, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and Hamas. What they've been trying to do for many years.
So he's saying the proportionate response for Iran is to stop their proxies. Great.
What is the proportionate response of Iran after their embassy was smashed and destroyed in Syria and 16 people were killed? What's the proportionate response?
Well, what about the proportionate response to everything Iran's done?
Which is against the
Whataboutism.
Vienna Conventions.
What about the response to everything Iran
What
has
did
been
Iran
doing?
do to Israel? Who did they kill? Who did they?
They never killed anybody.
Who
in
did
Iran.
they?
How deluded are
no,
you,
no.
Mohammed?
Excuse me. Hold on. Which Israeli civilian have Iran successfully targeted? Give me one name, please.
You don't think Iran's been responsible for any Israeli civilian dying?
I'm asking you to edify
What about
me.
the way they funded Hamas?
Edify me. What? Educate me, or what do you mean by edify? Let's see what edify means. Edify. I spelt it wrong. So edify means to instruct. Oh, okay. Or improve morally or intellectually. Okay. I've never used that word. So edify me, please.
You can both edify
slaughtered
me.
1,200 people in Israel.
Iran in
October the
particular. I'm not
7th.
talking about Hamas. We've spoken about Hamas at length.
But
We're
I
talking about
can
Iran.
give
now.
you some
through their
We're talking
specific
about Iran. It's
names.
old news. You're talking about
Let's let
Hamas.
Alan respond.
Yes, go ahead. Who did they successfully target?
Well,
That's
let
my
me
question.
respond.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
The Iranians have been found by an Argentine court to have been guilty of killing hundreds of Israeli and Jewish people in.
Is that prior to October the 7th? Or after?
Buenos Aires. They killed Marines through Hezbollah. They were combatants, but the attack on the Israeli Cultural Center, the attack on the Israeli embassy were attacks, according to the Argentinian judicial proceedings, attacks on Israel, entitling Israel to engage in response. Now, let me explain what proportionality means, because you're missing the point. Proportionality doesn't require that a country that's attack back in proportion. Proportionality only means that if you're going to attack a mixed target that has civilians and combatants, the ratio of civilians to combatants must be proportional to the military value of the target. And that's what Israel has been trying to do. But
So has Israel's attack on Gaza been proportionate? Right? When they're stating that they have a ratio of 100 to 1. So 100 innocent people for one life of an individual they consider a target or a valued target. 100 to 1. Is that proportional or a proportionate response? They call it a response as though, everything they did was a response to October the 7th. Let's not forget the Hannibal Directive. And if I remember correctly, he does talk about the Hannibal Directive here. We shall see. But yeah, the mainstream media, I don't know if anybody even listens to them anyway. As you know, like TikTok went super anti-Israel.
Thousands of Israeli and Jewish civilians over the years. So to defend somehow
what ratio is
Iran and
acceptable?
saying
What ratio is
that
acceptable?
they were innocent,
What kind of
even
ratio
the
in your
people who
understanding
were
is acceptable?
killed, even the people
What ratio
who
is
were
acceptable?
killed
You've
in
spoken
the
for some length
embassy
now. What ratio
were
is acceptable?
combatants who were legitimately
Can you hear me or
killed
not?
as combatants.
What's an acceptable ratio?
No, he can't hear you. Raise your voice even more than you have been doing, hijab.
So Iran has no right of self-defense against that. Israel was completely entitled to kill.
Let me answer what you've just said.
Israel was entitled to kill any combatant that was hiding in an embassy building.
Hold on. You've just conflated two things. You've spoken about the Argentinian case, which there is not actual an independent international investigation on. Number one, and then you've spoken about we speak about 1st of April. Was that a response to Argentina? It was not a response to Argentina. When on the 1st of April, they bombed the Iranian embassy in Syria, they did not do so. They said that is a military base and that we're attacking. But we all know that in this country, for example, every single embassy has military attaches. They have military attaches. So if you go to the US embassy here in London, they have armed officers. Does that make it a viable target? Does it make the US embassy a viable target? The Russian embassy a viable target? This is clearly against the UN convention. It's against the Vienna Convention. You cannot attack. You cannot attack an embassy of another nation in another sovereign land. You cannot do that. And
so let me respond to that.
No, hold on.
Let him answer.
Let me respond to that. Let me respond.
It's been
it was not an embassy. It was an.
Piers resorting to drinking from his mug. Yeah, that's a sign of stress for him.
Was an ancillary building being used as a military center to plan attacks against Israel. They used the
What's
pretext.
the evidence for that?
Bro, Joe Baz, you're spot on. This version of hijab would be awesome on James Whale. Yeah.
Of it being a building
What's the evidence
somehow attached
What's the evidence
to an
that?
embassy. The evidence is very clear.
Which is?
And be happy to have them bring a lawsuit.
What's the
and
evidence?
see if it
Bring
can be
the evidence.
resolved in a court of law. But Israel was entitled to regard who was killed. The people who were killed were military people who were planning attacks on Israel.
That's not true.
Using an annex to a building to do it.
Also killed.
Did that justify 3,000 rockets being sent into Israel?
Hold on. Let
and then
me respond.
180 ballistic missiles
have you
being
made your
sent
point?
into Israel?
Have
No,
you
of
made your
course
point?
not.
Okay. The response is as follows. First of all, 16 people were killed officially, and of them, there were 2 civilians that were killed. So what you're saying is only military targets is flatly false, squarely false, barefaced lie. You're a liar, as you were a liar when you were defending Epstein. That's number one. Number two is, when you say that, okay, that was a response. When Iran then, on the 14th of April, responded with missiles, once again, how many casualties were there? How many casualties were there? 0. Just like there were 0 casualties when they responded recently in October. Not one person died except for one Palestinian, ironically enough, that was apparently killed in the October one. But in the April one, no one died. It was precise strikes at military bases. Number two, you speak about this being a base. As I say now, if you look at Collins' dictionary right now, there's 2 aspects of what is a military base, vernacularly speaking. Number one is that there has to be weapons in that place. And number two, that there has to be training of soldiers. This is usually understood as what is a military base.
That's just made up. Those are made up stories. There's no truth to that at all.
What's made up? Which part
There's
of it is
no
made up?
truth to that.
Let him respond.
The fact that you need weapons.
No, let me finish. Let me finish what I'm saying. Let me finish what I'm saying.
That's just made up. You don't need weapons to have a military base. It can be a command center where they're planning attacks.
Let me finish.
That's just made up.
Let me finish. If we
the more you say, the happier I am.
Okay. What I'm saying to you is that if you look at almost every Western government embassy in the West and outside of the West, they have military attaches. You can fact check this. You can go online. You will see in the US Embassy, in the French Embassy, in the British Embassy, military guards, people there that have their own weapons and guns. So according to you, that would be a military base. See, are they then legitimate
No, what
targets?
happened in this
Are they
case
then
was
legitimate?
they used
Can we
an
then
annex of a
contravene-
building
Can we then
as a
contravene the
military
Vienna
base.
agreements? Can we then conventions? Can we
you
then?
don't know what
can
you're
we
talking
then,
about. You have
Okay,
no
hold on.
knowledge of international
hold on,
law
hold on.
or diplomacy
Wait.
law, the law of
You
war.
haven't got
so
one
please.
peer-reviewed. You don't have one.
Good point, Dershowitz. What do you know about those aspects of law, Hijab?
Peer-reviewed work on international law. And Jimmy Carter, the former U.S. president, said, "You have no knowledge of Palestine." Those
This was a nice response, though. I did like this answer. Jimmy Carter says you have no knowledge.
speak to me about Palestine and issues. Jimmy Carter,
Well,
a former
I have
president of the
written
United
50
States, as you acknowledge,
I
you've
have-
written it in your book. He says that you have no knowledge of the Palestine issue. Jimmy Carter said that. Don't speak to me
Well,
like
you
that.
want to hear something?
Yeah,
It
the only
was in
thing you
my
have knowledge
book. In
about is
fact,
where the
it was in
doors
the
and
back-
the rooms and the
It was
masseuses
in the
are.
back
and-
cover.
and-
It was
and-
the
and
back
Epstein's
cover of
house.
my book.
Goodness sake.
I've written,
That's what you have knowledge of.
I've written 13 books.
Did you touch
I've written
Virginia?
13
Did you touch
books
her?
on Israel.
Did you touch Virginia?
Did you touch Virginia?
Did you touch that woman?
Never heard of her. Never met her. Never met her.
Don't lie.
Never. She.
Don't lie to
she
me.
just-
Did you touch that woman or not?
I'm telling you, I never met her, and she acknowledged
Did you
in
touch that
writing,
woman?
under oath,
Did you
that she
sexually
may
assault
have-
her?
This was hilarious.
You're
Okay,
repeating
so-
How- why are you
serious
defending me?
information.
Because you don't leverage
Because he
over
won
it.
a case. It was proven to be lies.
I'm asking him a
Why are
question.
you doing this?
I'm asking him a question.
This
I'm
is not
asking him a
about
question.
Israel.
This is
You're trying to be a clever dick, but what you're doing is inviting a lawsuit from Anna.
A clever dick. Is that what you call them? A clever dick? Is that the right term? A clever dick? A clever clogs? But I didn't know about clever dick.
Which you will get.
I'm ready for it.
You are?
Yeah.
Really?
I've got 4 defamation
Good.
cases, all of which
Good.
have, your friend Douglas Murray, I'm taking him to court.
Well, good luck
And-
with taking on Annan on this, is all I would
I'm
say
ready
to
for
you.
him. Oh, you love him, don't you?
No, it's just one case.
I just wonder what he has.
defending himself.
I just wonder what leverage he has. Does he have any leverage on
God,
you?
this is pathetic, man.
I don't know why you keep defending
He's
him.
Why
now
you
accusing
haven't
me
been
of
like this before we
supporting
come on the show. Why are you
Pierce
doing it
He's
now?
Morgan,
a monster.
right?
This man is a monster.
Well, why debate then?
Because I don't mind debating monsters, just like you don't mind debating monsters. We have that in common.
Do you want to finish the debate about the bigger picture or not?
I'm speaking about it. You guys are the ones rattled. I'm not
no
rattled.
one's rattled. We just think it's pathetic.
You're both rattled.
We think it's pathetic because you don't understand what you're talking about.
Really, that's just an assertion, really, isn't it?
No, you're just trying to get your clicks on X, and that's fine.
Oh, isn't that
But
what you do?
nothing
Is anything wrong with that?
No, you know what? Try and debate the issue.
You always brag about it, my
Try
friend.
and debate
You
the
brag
issue.
about it myself. We've got 1 million views, 2 million views. You talk about it all the time.
Alan, let me ask you something, which is about what Israel is doing. At the heart of it, if you take the belief that Iran is the main target here,
Yeah, you say it was a pointless debate. I think the objective of the debate was to get sound bites. So you can take snippets, upload them to YouTube as shorts, or maybe put them on TikTok. Because in general, most people are not going to watch the whole debate from beginning to end, but they will watch those short snippets. So if that was the objective here, then he was successful because he got some nice little blows in against them. It was somewhat difficult to watch at times, right? Definitely, and I thought on occasion that Piers was going to end the debate. I even thought that not Epstein, what's his name, Dershowitz was going to get up and walk out. You have to give it to them. The guy is patient.
a lot of Israelis believe that Iran is really rattled and that Israel has a genuine opportunity to topple this regime. Do you think that is a likely eventuality? Is it a thing that Israel should be pushing to do?
Skyworks, which terms are you talking about?
I think if Israel has the military capacity to destroy Iran's nuclear abilities to create a nuclear arsenal and can do it with minimum civilian casualties, the way it did it in Iraq and the way it did it in Syria, it ought to do that. But if it risks a wider war.
Yeah, Jordan, you're saying that you want to hear about Palestine, but the conflict has moved on, right? It's moved on to Lebanon and now Iran. So it's not just about Palestine anymore. There's a bigger picture now.
War then obviously it has to take into account other considerations and the opinions of the United States.
Well, the full video has got 1.5 million views from when I checked. 1.5 million right now. Hijab tried to make a point. The kind of people supporting the T state. They aren't talking about that either. Well, they were. Yeah, he talked about does Iran have a right to defend itself? Attacking the embassy, is that not against the Vienna Conventions? A few other points. And attacking the credibility of Dershowitz as being a friend of Epstein. So Epstein, if you remember, was also linked to Mossad, Israel.
United States. So it's largely a military question. Israel certainly has the right to destroy Iran's nuclear capacity. Rafsanjani, the former president of Iran, said if Iran developed nuclear weapons, they would use them against Israel, kill 3 million Israelis.
Yeah, I agree, Skyworks. He came there with no intention of having a respectful debate. What he came there to do, as you can see in his interaction, was to treat Piers Morgan the way he treats his guests. In other words, ask him a question, and as he begins to answer, interrupt, change the topic, pass it on to somebody else. And he demonstrated that earlier, where he took over and acted like he was the host. He said, Alan, why don't you answer that question? Right? Just as Piers was about to answer his. So that was the goal here. It was also, I believe, to make short snippets that you can upload to social media. So he was successful on both of those, from both of those perspectives.
Israel's a one-bomb state. That would be the end of Israel. And even if Israel retaliated and killed 10 million Muslims in Tehran, the trade-off would be worth it. No country should ever accept that kind of a
Yeah, I've not heard clever dick used before, Skyworks. So I was a bit surprised by that term. I think he just mistakenly said it even.
wouldn't. They didn't in the Cuban Missile Crisis, and Israel shouldn't as well. But it's a military decision, and I'm not competent to resolve whether Israel has the capacity to destroy Iran's nuclear ability without too many civilian casualties.
Okay, Mohammed, do you
That's
think
a military question.
Mohammed, do you think Hezbollah are terrorists or freedom fighters?
I have an antithetical view to Hezbollah, and that's been well documented in the record. However,
what's your view? I don't know.
Well, I tell you one thing. I'm not going to be baited into a sectarian debate
Just
here.
asking you to comment about Hezbollah.
Sure. I don't necessarily. I have an antithetical view to Hezbollah. However, on this case, what I mean by that is that I don't necessarily support them in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
How do you
categorize them?
I categorize Hezbollah in their response to Israel as justified in that response.
And in the response for Assad in Syria against fellow Arabs?
Yeah, well, you and I both know that I have an antithetical view. I don't think that they were on the right side of history then. I do think they were acting in
So they were terrorists then?
Well, I mean, it depends on how. I think the word terrorism is a social construct.
What were they when they fought for Assad?
Oppressive, and that's on the record. There's no doubt about it. You can call whatever you want. But
so they were all the things that you would say Israel is?
When they were doing the thing with Bashar al-Assad. That is, of course, my view.
But they're only that thing when they're doing that. When they're attacking Israel, that's fine.
When they attacked Israel...
When they're attacking Arabs on behalf of Bashar al-Assad...
No, but that shows consistency.
No, hang on.
Doesn't that show consistency?
No.
Why not?
It doesn't show consistency.
It shows consistency.
The inconsistency is that you think that was bad, but when they're attacking Israel, that's fine.
Let's respond. On the 8th of October, you mentioned many times before in your interviews that they attacked Israel.
But Piers is making a good point, and it's a point that many of the Dawa people, including, let's say, Jake, is leaning on, and Wedgedy and these guys, and that is that these groups that are currently in a conflict with Israel, they're the bad guys because they were also in a conflict against, let's call them Sunnis, right, during the Syria conflict. What is not being recognized by a lot of these idiots, as Daniel calls them, youthful idiots, is that uprising in Syria was coordinated and funded not just by Saudi Arabia, but also by the United States and the United Kingdom. So I remember there was a press conference with William Hague, John Kerry, and the Saudi foreign minister, where they announced that they're going to start a conflict in that region. Yeah. So all the people who went there supporting it, they were supporting the empire. You can't be anti-empire on the one hand, and it's just silly.
They attacked Israel, right?
They did.
That's not true. They attacked the Sheba Farms, which is occupied territory.
Which Israel has claimed as its own since 1967.
Wait a minute.
Which Israel,
it's occupied territory.
Which Israel has claimed as its own.
See, this shows your lack of knowledge on the matter. It does.
Well, part of what I just said is not true. They've claimed it as their own since 67.
Wait, hold on. This is occupied territory, according to the UN, according to the US. It's occupied territory.
I just said Israel have claimed it as
so
its own.
what? They can claim. I can claim what I want. ISIS have made many claims.
So,
Skyworks and Izza, I agree with you on your views of Jake. May Allah preserve him. At the same time, I've never seen Christians more shook of anyone than Jake. Right? 'Cause I've seen him on Clubhouse, and there's senior Christian, what's the word again? Apologists. When they heard Jake was in the room, they were shook. Right? So, yeah. When it comes to anti-Christian, discussions or Christian debates, Jake is a heavyweight somehow. He makes them quiver.
So
given Israel,
whatever Israel claims is true. Is that what we are meant to believe here?
Hezbollah has fired beyond the Sheba Farms.
Now, let me explain.
Hezbollah
The Sheba Farms were
Israeli cities.
Hold on.
Israel
hold on,
has,
Dershowitz. Dershowitz, I haven't finished yet. Dershowitz, I haven't finished yet. On the 8th of, you talked about the 8th of October. When they fired on the 8th of October, they fired, and you can go ahead and bring evidence that they fired anywhere else other than the Sheba Farms. They fired on the Sheba Farms. After that, there was response from Israel. And then after that, because there was response...
Jordan says that no one cares about Dershowitz. I mean, no one cares about Dershowitz. He's like celebrity lawyer #1 in the United States. Of course people care about him.
You will not find differences between Sunnis and Shias. You'll not find differences in us. We are all united in the hatred of the Zionist entity.
All right, Alan, your response to that?
Well, Hezbollah has been firing rockets at Israel for years and years under the auspices of...
Hurry up and interrupt him, Hijab. What are you waiting for?
Responded and
don't let him complete a sentence.
Called for all the Jews of the world to be brought together into Israel so that they can be taken care of at the same time in the way that Hitler took care of the Jews of Europe. This is a genocidal claim by Nasrallah on behalf of Hezbollah. And certainly Israel had the right to respond to Hezbollah as they did. And, you know, you can quarrel with particular responses as you can quarrel with particular responses of any country. What the United States did after 9/11 was seen by many as an overreaction. Countries react when their civilians are murdered the way they were on 9/11 and the way they were on October 7th. And Israel had the right to respond. The United States and the world said so. And Hamas could end all the suffering in Gaza instantaneously by simply releasing the hostages and putting down their arms and calling for a genuine peace rather than a tactical ceasefire that just allows them to rearm and repeat October 7th. Remember, they said they would repeat October 7th over and over and over and over again. And as Elie Wiesel once said, always believe the threats of your enemies more than the promises of your friends. And so Israel has to act.
Okay, let me bring
on
back
the assumption
I want to
that
ask one
Hamas is going to try to do this again and again.
Okay, Mohammed, you've said so far, unless I'm wrong, you don't support Hamas, you don't support Hezbollah. So there's probably more bits of agreement here with Alan Dershowitz and me than you might like to admit if you don't support those two groups.
Okay, so I don't see what that's got to do with anything. We were
Just
talking,
a great-
we were
an
talking about.
observation.
We were talking about.
I said at the start I wanted to find points of agreement.
Sure.
Can we all agree that Hamas and Hezbollah are a bad thing?
I can agree that the white man, the Western man, has tried to use social constructs like terrorism to try and absolve themselves from all the...
What do you think about that? Why did he suddenly go into white man? And do you classify Jews as white people? That was I don't know why you went there with that.
Things that they.
What would you call them? Hamas and Hezbollah?
Well, I mean, just like any human being, they can sometimes be oppressive, and they can sometimes be on the right side of history.
Most human beings do not do what Hamas did on October the 7th.
Well, in the Zionist entity, they do, and they do worse than that.
They don't.
They don't.
Israel's never committed an atrocity on that scale.
On what scale?
On that scale.
Explain. What scale?
Killing 1,200 people.
They've killed 40,000.
Sorry, in one day. Massive.
They've killed 40,000.
Israelis that could get their hands on.
Hold on.
Kidnapping
on
children.
the 23rd of September, what happened?
Holocaust
On the
survivors.
23rd, we were talking about October the
raping and
7th.
abusing women, beheading people. Oh, you don't think that happened, do you?
Well, hold on. You just said raping and abusing. We just started the show with an admission that there's a problem in Israeli society. That there was.
I'm talking about Hamas.
Yeah, but you just said Israel doesn't.
We both condemned what you talked about earlier in relation
So why are
to
you saying Israel don't do that? What's wrong with you?
I didn't say that.
You just said that now.
No, I didn't.
You said Israel doesn't do, and then you just listed 3 or 4 things, and that was one of the things that you just.
No, I said Israel had never.
Am I speaking a foreign tongue?
Sorry, listen to what I'm saying. I said Israel never perpetrated an atrocity on that scale.
Okay. On
in
the 23rd
one day against the people
how many
of Palestine. They never have.
Well, hold on. How many civilians died on October the 7th?
Civilians about 800.
Oh, sure. All right.
But hang on.
Hold on.
But nearly 7,000 more were wounded.
Sure.
7,000.
What happened on the 23rd of September?
Were wounded.
What happened on the 23rd of September?
7,000.
Okay. Sure.
Think about that number.
Okay, no problem.
That's the scale of people who were attacked on that day.
Are we talking over each other? It's 2-on-1 now.
8,000 people were attacked.
No problem. On the 23rd.
One of the most horrendous terror attacks.
Is this going to be a monologue or is it a dialogue?
History. I'm telling you some facts.
I know the facts.
You may not like it, but I'm telling you them.
Okay, I'm telling you, on the 23rd of September, Israel attacked Lebanon. How many people died? How many civilians died, according to the Lebanese health, the Ministry of Health?
I believe it's about 2,000 was the last recorded number I saw.
No, in one day. On the 23rd of September.
Including combatants, incling many combatants.
No, on the 23rd, how many died? How many died?
Hey, Bruce. Skate.
Yeah, I think that's enough of that one. Hijab appeared on Sneeko's show, and he gave him a sort of rundown of what he was trying to do on there. So let's just hear that.
Let's get into it, dude.
Am I live already?
Assalamu alaikum. Yes, you're live. Can you see and hear me?
Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, how you
Assalamu
doing?
alaikum.
Okay.
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for coming on. Last moment's notice.
No worries at all, bro. How you doing? You
Volume's a bit low,
Doing
isn't it?
good. I just wanted to look at review your debate with Dershowitz, and I thought it'd be interesting to call you before. How did it go?
Well, I mean, I think it was enjoyable from my end. It was interesting. You know, I mean, the thing is, it's become like when you go on Piers Morgan Uncensored, it's not meant to be like a formal academic debate. And I learned my lesson the first time when I had a debate with a guy called Shmoli.
Yeah.
And I asked him, like, because the common protocol, like the typical protocol with the debate is, you know, one person speaks for a certain amount of time, uninterrupted, and then the other person speaks for a certain amount of time, uninterrupted, etc. And then there's like cross-examination, and then there's like questions and answers, or something to that effect. So when I proposed that to the production team the first time, they were not interested in that kind of thing. So I realized what kind of game is being played, because the first thing you got to do with these things is to see what kind of game is being played. And the game is the loudest person, the most assertive person, the most aggressive person usually gets center of the ring. So the strategy going into this one was, okay, well, if that's how you guys are going to play it, then I'm going to have to play this game as well, and I can play this game. And I had to do a psychological assessment of Piers Morgan and Dershowitz, and I found that there were two individuals with extremely fragile egos and quite averse to, or you could say hypersensitive to criticism. So I would just have in my pocket all of these ad hominems that any time where I thought like I was losing the center of the ring, I'd throw an ad hominem. Because for me, people don't look necessarily at arguments when it comes to these engagements. I think arguments are important, but they are a secondary priority. The first priority is actually optics. And it's a genocide supporter or someone like Piers Morgan, or an apologist really for Palestine genocide. he tries to pretend or feign that he's on the fence. But after a year, like, I mean, 50,000 people effectively died in more than one country. Israel acting in the same way in Palestine, acting in the same way in Gaza, acting in the same way in Lebanon. I was not going to be questioned by this guy. And I don't mind if anyone comes and says, well, you're very arrogant the way you've dealt with this, very distasteful, very unbecoming. I say, you know what? It doesn't matter what you think, because with all due respect, I would rather look arrogant and be dominating with an enemy or with an individual who's an apologist for the genocide than look professional but weak at the same time. So it's a trade-off I was happy to have. And I think this is the only way to deal with people like this. And I think it was, from my perspective, it fulfilled the strategic function of showing the hypocrisy of Piers Morgan. Because when he was questioned with the same words and the same interrogations that he uses to question other people about Israel, does Israel have a right to defend itself? You know, what's the proportionate response? Literally, his exact words were used against him. And you saw him contradict himself in the span of a minute. Does Iran have a right to defend itself? Yes, no, no, yes. Literally going from one answer to another answer in the span of 20 or 30 seconds, not knowing how to respond to that question, you know, getting a taste of his own medicine. You know, he's been doing it like, I will never forget the interview that he conducted with Jeremy Corbyn.
Right.
Jeremy, if you saw that interview, bro, he was basically trying to ravage Jeremy Corbyn with like 15 or 16 or 20 times asking the same thing. You condemn this, or does Israel have a right to defend itself? Okay, well, have a taste of your own medicine, Piers Morgan, because it's not just you that can try and act the bully. If you can try and dish it out, and you want to dish it out to people like Jeremy Corbyn and this one and that one, the other one, Abdul Wahid, who the GP who lost his job subsequently because of that interview, and other people as well who he's been trying to bully. If you act like that, you know, you're not about that life really, because there's always going to be someone who can do that to you in a better way than that you can do it to other people. And that person's Mohammed Hijab. And when he came and he did it to you in Dershowitz, I mean, he really didn't have a response. I mean, the physiognomy of Piers Morgan said it all. His facial expressions, his physiological
Physiognomy. There's another word. Is that even a word? Physiognomy. A person's facial features or expression, especially when regarded as indicative of character or ethnic origin. All right, interesting. Physiognomy. It's with a G. Physiognomy. Physiognomy. All right.
reactions. He was a defeated man. And that's all I wanted to do. And yeah, some people say it's distasteful, but to be honest with you, I don't care what I have to say about that.
Yeah, some people said that he started to cry, that he started to team up. I thought he was supposed to be moderating. What do you think is the best way to navigate these sort of debates? Because I'm sure you get criticism from people saying that you go guns blazing too much, but I like the way you describe a debate as the ring. You're not just in there to have a friendly conversation when it's somebody who's opposing your entire worldview, and you know it's all about optics and there's a big stage. It really is a fight. How do you navigate conversations like that without destroying your reputation, but also upholding the point of view that you hold so dearly?
I think debates are more of an art than a science. Some people think that debates are you coming with these arguments and you have to act in this way. You have to not be afraid to break formalities. At the end of the day, there are some formalities with these things. And when you're going on Piers Morgan's Uncensored, for example, someone would think you have to assume the posture of an interviewee. I didn't take that as a granted assumption. So I took quite frankly, as much as I could with the tools that I had, I took the role of the interviewer. I actually said, I'm going to get the center of the ring. And the way I did that, and I'm going to reveal the secret, since I don't think I'm going to be debating this issue with Piers Morgan again, is like I said before, you just review the psychological profile of the person that you're dealing with. A lot of it is just psychological advantage. Someone will say, why did you start with an ad hominem? An ad hominem, isn't that a kind of informal fallacy? It's only an informal fallacy if you connect it to an argument and you say, for example, you know, you are such and such, therefore you are wrong. I mean, no one's making an argument in that kind of crude manner. An ad hominem is actually a very effective means of discrediting your opponent, of setting a psychological scene, of creating a certain thing. So to remove ad hominems from a public debate on these kinds of issues is actually quite ridiculous and foolish, and there's no reason to do so. The only reason why the term ad hominem has a bad reputation is because people think it's a fallacy, but it's only a fallacy if you connect it explicitly to a kind of logical proposition. We're not doing that. So you can throw as many ad hominems as you want. I mean, sometimes ad hominems are like the spice, like, you know, salt on the food. You put ad hominems there and you entertain the public with some ad hominems. And if you say, well, that's a bad argument, so, like he did, I say, I'm not making an argument. I'm just making a point. I'm making a point about your character, about his character, about someone else's character. And that's just for the public to see. Because look, the debate is a bit like a performance. It is a performance. You're coming out there, you're trying to convince the public. And so as I say, it's an art because you first have to look at the psychological profile of the person that you're dealing with. So knowing Piers Morgan, the thing about him is, as I mentioned, he's hypersensitive to criticism, and he always feels the need to justify his actions to the public.
Right.
I mean, everyone can do that to some extent. I mean, there's a healthy amount of doing that, to just explain to the public or whatever if people are really curious. But he does it because and it came out in his interview, if you really paid attention, he cares too much what even his adversaries think about him. So he said, what do you think of me, Mohammed? What do you think of me? Who cares what I think of him? I mean, I don't care what he thinks of me. Why does he care so much if I like him or don't like him or these kind of things? So it's a psychological weakness, okay? And because for him, he's not basing his stances on principles, or he's basing it on money, okay? He's basing it on these kind of things. He's money over morals peers. So someone with that kind of psychological profile, it's easy to break him, okay? It's actually quite easy to break him. It's a mind game that must be played with him, because the first thing is, Dershowitz is the same, by the way. You'd have noticed when I was speaking to him about Epstein's Island, he kind of crossed his arm, he became like a little girl. Oh, I'm telling you, I didn't go to the island. Why are you? I mean, the way he spoke about that is, people are saying in the comment section, it's very
good. Dark Knight and Herman.
People are saying that people are saying in the comment section, he sounds guilty. I mean, it's unbelievable. Like, you know, he went down with a jab, really, because both of them are, like I say, fragile psychologically. So if you know that the person's a disturber and is a liar and is playing a game with you, he doesn't really know the facts. And every single thing that I said about international relations has been fact-checked and turned out to be correct. Every single thing about international law has been fact-checked, that he said it was wrong, and it turned out to be correct. So if these people are going to poison the well and lie about the facts, okay, well, let's play a game. I know your weaknesses. You can't really get to me because you can't reach me in that way psychologically. Let's see. So the ad hom in the beginning was a way of really, like, if you like, putting the jab to the face of to the nose of the opponent in the beginning, just letting them respect who you are. It's like a psychological advantage. And then after that, we'll throw the arguments, we'll mention all these points, all that kind of thing. But you need to maintain center of the ring. In a place like Piers Morgan Uncensored, you have to, as soon as you get in there, the tactic is to get the center of the ring and ask the questions and be the interviewer. And yes, be ready for anything else. But that's what I've done with him. And people will not like it, but I'll be honest, I cannot care what their opinion is, because I'm pretty sure that for the minority of people that don't like it, like 2%, 3%, who said you went a bit overboard or whatever, if they were on Piers Morgan, they'd probably get ravaged by him. And if it was a 2-on-1 situation, they'd get even more ravaged, and they would be spoken over, and they would be interrupted, and I would rather be, like I said before, I would rather look arrogant, I'd rather look whatever than look weak.
Did you guys see the debate?
With that man defending that position. For me, that was not an option.
That's a good strategy, and I think it's worked time and time again against Shmuley and against that major debate you had just on Palestine, Israel against Piers Morgan last year. You got to get dirty. You know, the formal debate strategy does not work on a live show like that. It's a different type of ball game. So it was good to see that. I'm looking for. Do you recommend that I watch the full interview, or should I watch the highlights that you put up on your channel?
No, you can do a bit of both. I mean, I put some highlights. The guys that are working with me, Benjamin Ikra is a fantastic, person who manages the social media platforms.
What? He's giving a shout out to Ben Ikra. Are you kidding me? Ben Ikra has successfully infiltrated all of the Dawah organizations online. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Ben Ikra. They trust him. They trust Ben Ikra. Goodness me. Subhanallah. Did it? No, I have to hear that again.
I mean, I put some highlights of the guys that are working with me. Benjamin Ikra is
Calls him Benjamin Ikra. Not Ben. Benjamin. What religion is a Benjamin? You guys trust Ben Ikra. Get out of here.
fantastic, person who manages the social media platforms, and I have to give him a shout out because he's the one who puts those things together. You can watch that as a taster and stuff. Some things that he put on the shorts and all these kind of things.
Why are you using Benjamin Ikra anyway? Just get Zishan to do your editing, or Saeed or someone like that. Why are you getting Benjamin Ikra? Dear me, he's done a good job at fooling the Muslims. I'll tell you that. Benjamin Ikra. Interesting. Okay, Benjamin Ikra. What else has he got to say
Well,
here?
I mean, you can watch the whole thing because you'll see. I mean, just pay attention to the body language. Pay attention to the psychology of these two men. Pay attention to how weak they look, because that for me is more important than anything. For me, optically, how a debate looks is as important as how it sounds. And so for example, if someone were to turn off all the sound and children were to come into a room and they had to judge who is the winner of this debate, the child should be able to point without hearing a word at the winner of the debate just by the body language and the demeanor and the confidence levels of the interlocutor.
Skyworks, you know Benjamin Ikra, do you? Yeah. How would I know if his belief is sincere? I can't see into his heart. What do you
That's,
think?
for me, a very, very integral part of debates.
What about the you had another debate recently with that you were preparing for a long time. What is his name again? It's
William Lane Craig.
Yeah, William Lane Craig. I didn't get to see that yet. How did that one? It seemed like that was. I saw some highlights, but it seemed like that was unanimously in your favor.
It was. I mean, but the thing is that William Lane Craig is no, Dershowitz. He's a person who's, quite frankly, I have to say, he is academically honest, and he is a heavyweight in the world of academia. In the field that I've, completed my PhD on, completing my PhD is philosophy of religion. He's really one of the biggest names in the last 100 years. And in Christian debates, he could be said to be the.
I'm sorry. Did he say he's completed his PhD or he's completing his PhD? Which is it? Rewind here.
Complete my PhD on completing.
Hold on.
Heavyweight in the world of academia. In the field that I've, completed my PhD on, completing my PhD is.
Make your mind up. Did you complete it or it's still continuing?
It's philosophy of religion. In the field that I've, completed my PhD on, completing my PhD is philosophy of religion.
Speaking out both sides of his mouth there. The field that I've completed my PhD, he said actually, the field in which I've completed my PhD or completing my PhD. Right. And also, do you remember he was supposedly, I won't say supposedly, he was a student at Oxford University, and now he's studying at Birmingham. What happened there? And in fact, it was the first time he appeared on Piers Morgan that he said the Oxford graduate. Well, did you graduate from Oxford? Why did you switch to Birmingham? What happened? Why didn't Piers ask that question to Hijab? He could have, put him on the back foot. Piers, contact me. I'll give you some tips. I've seen some of his interactions. He was talking about Benjamin Ikra. Yes, Benjamin Ikra. Yeah, but do you believe him? Do you take him as a sincere individual? Do you have no doubts about this persona he's got, Skyworks? Nixie 1. Hi, Birdness Ratfest. Yeah.
He's really one of the.
What about the rest of you in the chat? What do you think of Benjamin Ikra? Is he someone you take as trustworthy?
Biggest names in the last 100 years. And in Christian debates, he could be said to be the biggest name in the last 100 years. So William Lane Craig is, if you've watched any of these Christian apologists, usually in some way, shape, or form, the teacher of your favorite Christian apologist debater. Like, for example, David Wood. I had a big debate with David Wood in 2018. And William Lane Craig would be considered to be, in a way, his teacher. So he's a big, big fish, and you can't really get away with things with him. He's written a book on logic.
So, Izza, I am asking the question. I'd like you to answer. Do you think he is?
He's written so many peer-reviewed papers. So I actually prepared for that debate very rigorously and very, strenuously. Like
He had a cooking show, how to make eggs and ham. Oh dear. Well, was it halal ham or what are you talking about?
Like every day I would be reading his books. I've read most of, if not all his books. I've read most of, if not all his, seen most of, if not all his debates and all of his public lectures and everything that there is to do with this guy. Because for me, this was more of an academic debate. Yeah, I was assertive, but it's not like that debate is not going to get as much traction as this one, because the performative aspect or the entertainment aspect was much less, because it was about the facts. And I think it was good. I think we went back and forth. There was nothing that he said that really threw me off, or that something I didn't hear before, except for one example that he gave about some candles, which I misheard, because he said that, if you put two matchsticks together and, both of them will light a candle, will light a candle. And I heard him differently in my head, saying that if you put two candles together, it will become a bigger flame. So in my mind, that was a mistake that I made in hearing what he had to say. And that was the only thing that he brought that I didn't expect him to bring, because I didn't really read it in any of his works. This thing about overdetermination, I think he thought about it on the spot. However, obviously, now having heard what he said, I think it's even a weaker argument than I thought it was in the beginning, because what he was trying to say was that, if God, I'm saying that it's Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, how can all three of them create the universe fully and totally and at the same time together? How is that possible? So he said that, well, if you get two matches, okay, and you bring it to the wick of a candle, okay, then those two matches, both of
At this point, all of Sneako's audience has fallen asleep or switched channels. So he's probably going to call it an end to that conversation shortly. Does he have anyone else interesting on this show? All right, let's check out. He reacts to the. Hold on, what's this?
Feel about Aiden Ross telling you he not getting you a boat no more?
Aiden's birthday is tomorrow, I think, chat. It's funny, but that became like a fucking holiday in the streaming world.
Doesn't really always like the fact that he's a YouTuber. Like when
his
he makes
YouTube
music,
career overshadows everything he
everything
does.
he
He's the
Am I grifting PSG?
Yeah, he's the YouTuber who sings. He's the
It's
boxer
2020.
who does YouTube.
Hairline. What are you talking about? This debate. Who here was watching the Muhammad Ajab thing earlier? The little Muhammad Ajab collab. Did you guys get to see his debate yet? Me? Was that good? I haven't spoken to him in a while, man. It was great to speak to him again and talk to him. I miss him. So he debated. This is Epstein's lawyer right here. This is epic. Muhammad Ajab asked, does Iran have a right to defend itself? And see how Piers Morgan is speechless. Isn't this crazy that this guy still is still free? Epstein's lawyer. Look at him. He looks like he did it. He looks like he did it.
Let's talk about Iran.
Let's talk about Iran.
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
Do you support Iran?
Okay. Well, let me answer your question. Iran was attacked.
What do you mean you saw your ex on Aiden Russ's stream? Like his actual video or just his name in the chat?
On April the 1st, right? It was attacked. The embassy of Iran was attacked in Syria by Israel. After that, on the first occasion, they then sent missiles and drones, correct? Now, my question to you is, does Iran have a right to defend itself? And if so, what is a proportionate response? Because you see, I've been having a moral quandary about the issue. Piers Morgan, what's a proportionate response for Iran?
I tell you what I think about Iran. I think Iran is an unbelievably nefarious.
His technique is good, man. He has like a theatrical technique to these public debates. Let's talk about the moral quandary. Leave it to the squire. The jury will answer.
Place, which has been fueling Hamas, the Houthis, Hezbollah
for
many years with a joint
does that have a right to defend
joint ideology that they want to eradicate Israel in any way they can.
Okay. Does it have
So
a right to
I
defend
think
itself?
Iran is one of the most despicable
Does it have a right to
regimes
defend itself?
in the world. I also think that right now
He's ducking.
the Iranian regime is in.
Oh my gosh, Umezza. The guy, is that when they went to the masjid in Canada or wherever it was? That was your ex-husband that was teaching them how to pray. Oh, how to do wudu. What? What happened then? Why did you divorce? What went wrong?
serious danger.
You look completely
of-
discombobulated.
of-
You look disheveled.
I'm telling you what I think of Iran.
Bro, his vocabulary is so funny, bro. Because people think that he looks like he looks like an Arab guy, but he speaks like a royal member of the family, like a royal king. You've become completely discombobulated. You've been disheveled in real. You've been mentally executed. You've been defeated.
Sorry to hear that, sister. Barakallahu lahu. If he's a good guy, then anyway, then that means you're not a good sister. That's what it means, right? If he's the good guy, then you're the bad one. Yeah, you just spoil any future chance of marriage there, Mirza.
Intellectually, physically, disheveled.
Can you do they have a right to defend themselves? Do you think they have a right to defend themselves? Both of you can answer the question. Do they have a right to defend? They were attacked. The sovereign nation was attacked. My question is, does it have a right to defend?
Iran has been fueling
Isn't that the
attacks
question
on
you've been
Israel
asking?
now for what, 40
I've
years?
been having a moral quandary about
What?
it. I've been having a moral quandary about Iran.
Have you?
Yeah, moral quandary, yes. Moral quandary, I don't know. Do they have a right to defend themselves? And if so, what is the proportionate
So you're
response?
supporting Iran, to be clear.
I'm asking you. No,
Are
I'm
you
not
supporting
I'm
Iran?
not supporting. I'm antithetical to many of these organizations for my own purposes. But my
Yeah, there was I thinking I was going to. No, I'll keep quiet. Sorry.
question
Do
to
you, do you support the Iranian regime?
not unconditionally, but I support their
What
right,
conditions do you agree with them about?
their right to defend themselves. Do you believe they have a right to defend themselves?
No, you think they're terrorists.
Oh, so they don't have a right to defend themselves. Iran does not have a right to defend itself.
They do, but they're not the ones.
So what is proportionate response?
They're not the ones.
What's the proportionate response?
Oh, it's owning him,
No,
bro.
Can I answer you?
You asked this question to the
You're just
people.
going to keep talking. Can I answer you?
What's the proportionate response?
The proportionate response to Iran is to stop them trying to destroy Israel through their proxies, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and Hamas. What they've been trying to do for many years.
What is a proportionate response of Iran after the embassy was smashed and destroyed in Syria and 16 people were killed? What's the proportionate response?
Well, what about the proportionate response to everything Iran's done?
Which is against the Vienna Conventions.
What about the response to everything Iran
What
has
did
been
Iran
doing?
do to Israel? Who did they kill? Who did they?
They never killed anybody.
Who
in Iran.
did they?
How deluded are
no,
you,
no.
Mohammed?
Excuse me. Hold on. Which?
What I love about this is Mohammed Hijab is just using Piers Morgan's tactics against him. Do you condemn Hamas? Do you condemn Hamas? The same thing, just flip. Uno reverse. It does not feel so good to be on the other side of that, huh?
Which Israeli civilian have Iran successfully targeted? Give me one name.
You don't think Iran's responsible for any Israeli civilian dying?
I'm asking you to edify
What about
me.
the way they funded Hamas?
You can both
slaughtered
edify me.
1,200 people in Israel.
Iran in
October the
particular. I'm
7th.
not talking about Hamas. We've spoken about Hamas at length. We're
But
talking about
I can
Iran.
give
now.
you
it through their
We're talking about Iran. It's
names.
old news. You're talking.
All right, enough of that. I've had enough of Mohammed Hijab for one day. What else does Nico go through on his show?
Well, it's funny. It's normal. But what is he, like 12 years old and he weighs more than me? This should not be. Boom! He thinks race. You could lose that every single time. His argument is that. So then you're not even.
That are separate.
Stay tuned.
Stay very tuned.
Stay very tuned.
I can't announce it because then he'll know. Oh, okay.
Get it?
Yeah. It's a surprise.
It's a surprise. No one knows.
Is it a good surprise?
I'm gonna fuck him up.
What do you mean?
Oh, you don't know? I gotta get revenge on
What's the
Leon.
lore?
Gotta get revenge on Leon.
Oh.
Blah, 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 blah.
For what?
He printed out a picture of my mom and pissed on
Every time I see this, I see this elevator in streams all the time, and I think about the Universal stream.
Oh yeah, this guy Philly. Did you hear about that? He went to Australia and got arrested.
No, it's just funny. I don't think Kai should. Here's my take on this. I don't think Kai should face backlash for this stuff. I don't think he knew. I think it's pretty obvious he didn't know. But it's just funny that this keeps happening, right? Like, how many times does this happen with Kai now? Like 4 times. He can't catch it. The funny part is Kai can't catch a break. That's why I want to make jokes about it. I don't want to try to ruin his reputation. But it's like, poor guy, bro. His cameraman, even I don't even think his cameraman was that bad. What happened now? His friend on the New Year's party. There was another one. Dude, it's just nonstop, huh? Kai equals Zoomer Diddy. Stop. Poor guy, bro. Poor guy. Bro, at that point, I would be like, bro, why? I'm going to stop putting my friends on because they keep graping. Every time I put on my friend and bring me down, someone said he knows what he is. And then people make these jokes, the new Diddy, all this stuff. Someone said, somebody smell like allegations. Poor guy, bro. Dude.
That's a Kai curse.
What about Aiden?
We begin.
Oh gosh. Oh, this PBD idiot. Yeah.
Let's yap a bit, huh? Open invitation, Brett. It's been 2 years. We need to talk to you about quoting YouTube Sneeko. Come on. This is disrespectful. Let's get on a call and talk about society.
She looks like Ben Shapiro.
We'll keep it nice. We'll just keep it towards, normie politics. We don't need to go that deep. Even Brett might accept that invitation.
Brett.
How the fuck did you guys know that? You guys watch the channel like that? Like, no one linked the clip. Rabbi Salabu around Pornhub. The rabbi that owns Pornhub. What religion / race is he?
Pornhub.
Yeah, a rabbi owns Pornhub. You kidding?
Yeah, so we saw an extraordinary opportunity. The fact that it's newsworthy or noteworthy that we've made the acquisition, that should tell you that this is a space that has not had mainstream investment, right?
He's Muslim?
It's a space I always
Is this rabbi Muslim?
said, when we looked at the business,
Is this rabbi a Frankist?
it's a business that's legal. Not only is it legal, but in every Western democracy, it's constitutionally protected. It could not be outlawed, even if you wanted to.
It should be. Isn't Pornhub outlawed in like half of the states right now because you have to be over 18? And there's like underage people on Pornhub. They get trafficked to go and make videos for this guy over here.
But it doesn't have that legitimacy. And one of the reasons
the
for that,
rabbi's
when we
not
started to
Muslim?
examine the business further, was that nobody wanted to say we are the owners of a major adult company, right? Everyone, they wanted the benefit.
Put me in the chat as a kid. I was talking about this with Adam the other day on stream. He said that the first porno he watched was SpongeBob. First one I saw was 2 Girls, 1 Cup. And I noticed it. Even if you still watch porn, if you haven't quit yet, hopefully you guys are on the way to doing it. I think everybody can come together and acknowledge that irreversible damage to you. Isn't that wild? We all know. We can all see the effects that it's had on relationships, on the way you interact with women, on your dopamine receptors, on your happiness. We all know. And yet still, most people still watch it. You goon still? Stop announcing that on the
benefits of owning a major adult company. It's a profitable business, but nobody wanted to be out front and engaging with other tech businesses, with government, with law enforcement, with regulation in that sort of way that the modern tech industry has to. So we saw in that this arbitrage opportunity, right? Where if people who come from the mainstream professional networks, whether it's law enforcement, tech, finance, et cetera, this is an opportunity to really bring this industry into the 21st century. We saw an extraordinary opportunity to do that with this, this jewel of an asset, Pornhub, but obviously the entire company.
I love it. You said jewel of an asset.
I love it. You should not love that. People like this, I think they're worse criminals than Philly if he did what he did. I think these people they're doing more damage to society than most of these other vices that people are selling. He's doing irreversible damage, and he's still getting a podcast like this.
So I'm going to give you some stats here that we see. So one, it says 20 witnessed a jaw-dropping 5.8 billion hours of content consumption, which, by the way, is kind of strange because most men should only be watching for a minute or two, right? But this is like when you hear 5.8 billion
No,
hours,
Patrick, our average visit is about 10.5 minutes.
they probably got off the computer. And,
Imagine this guy's hard drive. This guy average visit 10.5 minutes. Fuck, he knows that. He knows what you're watching. He knows what your kinks are. He knows what category, how many times you skip to the next video. He knows how long you edge and goon. They track all.
See, that's another. He's doing the same thing, a similar technique to Jeffrey Epstein. So he owns the platform. He can tell which IP address. They'll map the IP address to the individual that's using the IP address. So they'll be able to track every single person that has accessed that website and identify them. The moment you step out of line or speak up politically, you'll get a message saying, by the way, we don't want to release this to your business partners, your porn viewing list, right? Do you remember what happened when what's that big guy from Newcastle called? The Big Geordie, the Big Geordie guy. So when he fell out with Andrew Tate, what did Andrew Tate do? He published records of the guy using call girls or whatever these people are that you phone up and have a call with a woman. Yeah, he published records of his conversations with those women. How he got it, I don't know, but it's the same sort of technique. It's owning those platforms where you have secrets of individuals that they wouldn't want to be known publicly. And it's the same technique Epstein used to get control over politicians and rich, successful business people. Now, why did I say that? Okay, so this guy's name is Solomon Friedman. Solomon Friedman. He's a partner in a law firm called Friedman Mansour. So he's partners with a Muslim, Mansour. Now, who's Mansour? So try and look that up. Friedman Mansour. We'll come back to that. Friedman Mansour. But if I am correct, the Solomon Friedman is also on the board of a new airline that's starting up in the UK called Global Airline. Let's have a look. Check out a company called Global Airlines. I believe he's on the board of directors. He may even be a chairman of the chairman of the company. I'll have to double check. Global Airlines. Our story, our vision, our fleet. Learn more. Yeah. Anyhow, I can't find the link for the information. But this guy's also a board member of this new airline called Global Airlines that will operate a transatlantic A380 route from London to the United States. And he has a law firm with a Muslim called Mansour.
All your data, dude. Imagine his hard drive.
They left the website on, but there's a different story She's a there. fucking cross. So that's nearly 665 centuries of material over a single platform in just one week.
He literally knows how long your average goon session is.
Here's another one for you. The world in 2018 with a whopping 63,992 new visitors per minute. Is that true? 63,992 new visitors per month.
Doesn't sound unreasonable.
33.5 billion visitors. Insane, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the most popular day, Sunday, you guys got all these different stats. And you even put up a stat recently on which state consumed the least while the election was going on and who was committed to it. So you're also involved in the election stuff that's going on, right? But at the same time, you got a petition. I think something came out that says More than 2.2. Thank you so much, Kelly. More than 2.2 million people have signed an online petition to shut down the site. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think that the topic of divisive one. I think it has to do with the topic of sexuality in general, right? There are always going to be different views about human sexuality and problematic of those. In fact, it's a little more public. It's more in your face. That's the nature of it. It's sex for the public. So you're going to have people who have really deeply held convictions about the proper place of sex in our society, and that's a good debate. There's nothing wrong with that debate. But
I'll debate you. Open invitation to this Rabbi Solomon Friedman. I think this would be good. This would be interesting. I would love to debate you on this subject on whoever's platform. I think it'd be good on Aiden's platform. Let's do it. Let's do it.
you take 2.5 million signatures, we have 130 million daily active users. So people have voted with their mice and with their feet in terms of where they're going to go. But of course, it's going to be a subject of public debate.
I would love to intellectually dishevel you.
Discombobulate. Did you guys see the leaks where Pornhub employees said that they push trans content on the straight side of Pornhub on purpose to like indoctrinate the youth and maybe like turn them gay?
Seem like a troll, but it's not.
It's a real thing.
I just can't believe that it's true. So correct me if it's not. That you sat in a room or a corner of a room, very much like the one you're sitting in now, and just watched many other men plow the ever-living fuck out of your wife. Is that true?
All right, get it. All right, we want to keep it on task. So we're gonna jump to the next gentleman.
Wow, bro. Wow.
The answer probably.
W. Jackson.
Yeah,
we're trying to sign Aiden and Sneeko. We're trying to get all the best streamers in the world.
Let's do it. Bear, let's do it. I texted him earlier just to see if he responded. I think, yeah, he did. He said, what's, okay, yeah. Let's do it. No chance he will debate you. I would love to do it.
Hassan started on the show. Hassan, yeah, I mean, Hassan did have a following chat.
Like, he was already big.
He was big on the Young Turks, but he got popular on Twitch from the show, and he used to hang out with a guy named Destiny. They would play, like, you know who Destiny is?
Blue-haired freak.
Damn. Ready for the chat to go crazy?
Have you seen that one picture of him? Like when he's by the beach.
Damn. A little secret here.
Why they were crazy?
You don't talk
I don't. Blue hair. Blue hair.
So anyway, so Cutie Cinderella would really do really good on the show. And she was with some blue-haired freak named Destiny all the time. And they would basically do the show, and it was really funny. Cutie got her start here. This guy named John Zerka got to start here.
Oh, nut.
Canute got to start here. Yeah, Mia Malkova did not get her start here.
Damn.
But S-Fan.
What is this panel? Wait, Mia Malkova's a streamer too?
Yeah, I think that's
Melted. Just
about
point
it.
the spray can
I'm
in the lighter and
gonna check the Daily Mail, see what they're talking about, and then I'll probably shut down. Alex Salmon dies, age 69. Shock as former First Minister of Scotland, who lost independence referendum, collapses after taking ill. Collapses after taking ill before passing away following speech in North Macedonia. Philip Schofield emerges after calling Holly a witch. Why is he still in the news? Why is he not like an outcast? Woman in her 20s dies after horror plunge from 18-story cruise ship in middle of the night as passengers reveal mass confusion when alarms started blaring. Peter Higgins, stop worshipping MI5. It's just a Blairite secret police force with a budget to boost. Yeah, what's he talking about there? Let's have a look. How very odd. Oh, don't tell me it's a paywall article. Yeah. I wonder if anyone actually pays for that kind of thing. Okay, the marriage and let's see, engineering graduate 22 warned he faces a criminal record for mistakenly buying the wrong train ticket, issues update. What? an engineering graduate who was threatened with court action after he mistakenly used an invalid train ticket to travel on a northern train, has been told he faces no further action over his error. Sam Williamson, 22, used his 16 to 25 rail card for a journey between Broadbottom and Manchester a week ago, only to be accused of fare evasion. He was travelling to a DSA centre to take his driving theory test when he was told by Northern staff his ticket was not valid. But hard-nosed staff reportedly refused to let him make up the £1.90 difference and insisted on filing a penalty report. He was threatened with court action. Okay, so did he go to court? Looks like he didn't even go to court. Benjamin Ikra. I don't know his last name. All right, so let me just Google. You said what autofills when you type P? Well, I did search for physiognomy. P. Diddy. Nothing about Pornhub. Ben Ikra. Spelt like that. So 2 months ago, he said he's done with the UK and leaving in 7 weeks. That means he's gone, right? He's gone. He's left. Alhamdulillah. Where's he gone? So when you type, you get that word come up. All right. Mike, find yourself a wife. Maybe that will help. OPI unveils limited edition Wicked inspired nail collection. Meet the cooling bit. Okay, great. It's all advertising. SubhanAllah. Vile predators who filmed themselves gang raping vulnerable girl 13 they met at tube station are jailed. SubhanAllah, that is awful. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. 3 men who filmed themselves while ganging a 13-year-old girl have been jailed. Have been jailed. This has repeated itself. Paul Maxwell, 24, Kayon Bowler, 29, and Jeremiah Jackson, 24, encountered the girl outside the tube station in Hammersmith last year. They lured the girl back to Maxwell's flat, where she was, by all 3. CCTV showed the group traveling from the station towards the flat, while in-depth phone analysis also revealed a short video clip of the 3 men carrying out their attack. Following a 3-week trial at Southern Crown Court, all 3 men were found guilty of the R word, and Maxwell convicted of an additional count on the 22nd of July this year. So this guy at the top left, that's Paul Maxwell, Jeremiah Jackson on the right, and I don't know the name of the third guy, I don't remember. Bowler of no fixed address and Jackson from Acton were both jailed for 11 years. SubhanAllah. May Allah protect all the women out there from such despicable acts. Yeah, Mike, did you all hear about that Frenchman who used to drug his wife and allow the whole village to run through her? BBC star Clive Myrie blasts pro-Palestinian protester as an effing idiot and a lunatic in War of Words with students who say he's a Zionist who spreads Israeli propaganda. Okay, yeah. Well, he is, isn't he, as a part of the BBC? Is there any footage of it? Probably adverts first. Yep, adverts.
Just walked out and didn't have the courtesy to hear my response. And I have an idiot shout at me in public and then leave.
The courtesy. Why do you deserve courtesy? You're a mouthpiece of the empire. Star of iconic 90s sitcom looks unrecognizable with trim as he steps out in LA. Can you guess who? Not really interested. Travelers set up an illegal camp in a woodland next to our homes. The smell and noise has been miserable. Okay, great. Brit billionaire, once too poor to afford KFC, is forced to sell his 6-bed mansion in Hampshire after being plunged £725 million in debt and made bankrupt by the Kinahan cartel. Which of these did man leave on the moon? UN peacekeeper shot in Lebanon becomes 5th to be injured in week. So they left that all the way down the page. So if you're not aware, there's a group of UN troops, if you want to call them that, including Irish security people in Lebanon, and Israel has been targeting them. P&O owner to attend investment summit as Transport Secretary Louise Hayes' £1 billion gaffe overshadows Keir Starmer's 100 days and threatens to plunge Labour into civil war. Young Philly, this is also left all the way down the page. Why haven't they talked about Young Philly? Is seen for the first time since being charged with that word and assault in Australia as brands drop the YouTuber. Starmer admits being PM is tougher than anything he's done before and says Labour's multiple scandals have caused choppy days as he rebukes Transport Secretary over £1 million P&O gaffe. King Arthur may have been LGBT because he once wore women's clothing, says Welsh Council. Oh no. Get out of here. Okay, we got how did Lord Ali, seen by some as an eccentric mix of Rasputin and Willy Wonka, schmoozed his way back to the heart of the Labour Party. Locals in Greenbelt Village at war with Angela Rayner over £1 billion NHS data centre and claim it would destroy their beautiful countryside. How Pete Wicks overcame a troubled childhood to impress Strictly fans. Not interested in that. Kamala Harris's doctor releases her medical report with details about her lifestyle and diet. Well, isn't that supposed to be private? How to undo the damage the summer has done in your skin. The astonishing amount of money OnlyFans female CEO reports paying out to its raunchy roster of creators. Rebecca Vardy owes a blah, blah, blah. Dad's body is there. Mum's is more complicated. Daughter, 36, who murdered her parents and lived with their remains for 4 years, reveals where she hid them. Man learns he's being dumped by his ex-girlfriend after Apple AI summary of texts. Yakuza mobster cut off his own finger and then tried to claim treatment for it on Japan's healthcare service. Florida man reveals if house weathered 160 miles per hour Hurricane Milton after he strapped it to the ground like a piano. Inside Scotland's highest village, discovering that a visit to Wanlock Head is a valuable experience, and not just because of the pure gold found in its streams. And this girl went to Diddy's parties. Member of 1,235 pounds a year Mayfair Private Members Club was bullied after breaching COVID rules. High Court hears. She deserves so much more. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna close this now. What? Let's check out Twitter and then we'll go. So we'll check this out.
כי פה זה אדמתנו, ולבנון זה אדמתנו, ועזה זה שלנו, ואין מצב שאנחנו לא נגרש אותם הטמאים האלה שהם מחללים יום ויום את הר הבית ואת ירושלים מכל מקום שהם דוחים. אנחנו נגרש אותם מפה. הרצל אמר אם תרצו אין זו אגדה. אנחנו אומרים היום שתרצו לא תרצו אין זו אגדה. זה לא אגדה כי אנחנו נעיף אתכם מפה. בואו נגמור את העבודה, אנחנו רוצים לגמור את העבודה.
So yeah, he's arguing for greater Israel, basically. I get all these dumb following. I thought I removed these followers. Yeah, I've removed them. This guy spent 50 years studying the habits of people who lived past 100, and not a single one of them were on a diet or went to the gym. Yet these people were 10 times more likely to reach 100 than the average American. Okay, not interested. Many Gentiles refer to Jews as demons. Here we have excerpts of a Jewish scholar admitting proudly that according to the Talmud, Jews themselves can be demons, and demons are literally, physically, an intimate part of the Jewish community. Okay, let's see.
I would venture to say that a lot of people, when they first study the Talmud, or even if they've been studying it for a while, might not even know that demons pop up occasionally in its pages. So today we are super lucky to have Dr. Sarah Rosh. She's one of the world's experts on the topic of demons in the Talmud.
I examine how the Babylonian rabbis think about demons really differently. Right? It turns out if we ask, how does this one specific group who is so important to modern Judaism, how do they think about demons? First, I want to show you how the rabbis integrate demons into the world of rabbinic law. By integrating them into the rabbinic legal system, they become all kinds of interesting players in the rabbinic legal system, leading me to, I don't know, do something awesome. Are you hearing feedback? I'm working on it. Okay, totally fine. One, the rabbis think demons are real. They're not a metaphor for something, right? This is a real demon with a real ear. Two, demons have bodies, right? This demon has an ear. And this demon is three-dimensional, but presumably, at least in part, invisible. They are imagining a world in which demons are part of the community. The rabbis believe in a world with lots of different kinds of intermediary beings, right? Beings that are more powerful than humans and less powerful than God. And so that world has all kinds of different beings in it who are not the same. Actually, in the Talmud, Satan or Satan is much more connected oftentimes with angels than demons,
people do seem to be remarking on how much the demons are in some ways like people in terms of their ethics. They carry money, they can chat, but they're also invisible, but you can also have a conversation with the demon, or at least the rabbi can. Which raises this question. World in which demons are really part of the rabbinic legal system. But here's one thing the rabbis never do. They never excommunicate a non-Jew. Why not? Literally in the English world, in the English word excommunicate is kick somebody out of the community that they are a part of. So here, when Marber of Ashi bans the demon, he tells us, well, this demon was a part of the community. And presumably, right, we get a sense that the demon says, I want to be a part of this community. Right? I want to be a part of this community. So here too, we get a sense that the rabbis are creating a law that applies to demons because demons are part of their community. So as hopefully can be dangerous, harmful, and even deadly, right? If you provoke demons, right, be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. But as we've also seen in this text, demons can also be members of the community in good standing and who want to be part of the community. And in one text, maybe even rabbis themselves. Maybe even rabbis themselves. Joseph the demon, who is a demon and a rabbinic informant. So here we have a Rabbi Papa, quoting a demon in the exact same way that he quotes his own rabbinic teachers. Now, I also want to point out something else. Very often, demons, when we think about demons in the ancient world, they have names that translate to things like sloth, gluttony, lust, wrath, right? In lots of different cultures at this time, demons' names translate to negative characteristics. This demon's name is Joseph. This is another sign that the rabbis absolutely believe in demons and also think demons are not wrath and lust and sloth and gluttony and all of those. And in fact, right, I think what we see is at the end of this narrative that the demon's teaching gets put into practice and serves the test of time. So we have this demon who's teaching a rabbi something, which then becomes integrated into the rabbinic tradition. I want to share another one of my favorites with you. And this is from Bavli Eruvin 43a, because if you could teach one rabbi, why not teach all of them? So.
Interesting. Anyway, I think that should be enough. Oh, what's this? Daniel Hakikichu. Interesting development. Jake Brancatello calls for the masses to make public takfir of rulers. Jake, since publicly declaring Aqidah is so important to you, can you publicly declare what you think about takfiring the rulers of Muslim countries? For example, if someone were to present you problematic quotations from the rulers of Pakistan, Morocco, Saudi, UAE, etc., will you invite your followers to evaluate those quotes as being kufr or not? And will you smear whoever abstains from making the public takfir as hiding his aqidah? I'm not making takfir of these rulers, but my question is, why are you inviting people to discuss online and make judgments of kufr on rulers of Muslim countries? Do you believe it's a good idea to tell people that they should clarify their aqidah by making takfir of their rulers? Okay, blah, blah, blah. So what is it that Jake said? He said, now I've answered your question, Dan. Can you answer any of mine? Was Khomeini a kafir for believing the imams controlled the entire universe? Is Khamenei a kafir for believing imams are greater than the prophets and 12 of them came after the Prophet Muhammad? I think the sentiment that I've gauged from most of the people following this little beef is that Jake is a little bit out of line. There's a time and a place for everything, and this is really not the time and the place. with what's going on in the Middle East at the moment. As you can see, as long as Muslims are engaged in these types of sectarianism, the Ummah will continually suffer, and instead of being leaders of the world community, they'll be followers of the world. Yeah. Ask Jake now, he's living in Morocco, what he thinks about the rulers of that land signing an Abrahamic Accord with Israel. Can he tell us what Aqidah he belongs to when it comes to signing a treaty of peace with the killers of the Palestinians? So yeah, there we go. I think, yeah, that's enough for me for today. Thank you all as usual for watching, and if you've got any feedback as usual, just send me a message, and inshallah we'll speak again soon. And with that, I'll go. وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وآله وصحبه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.